everybody, this is Asuka. So today we are at Binary Star in Ginza, Tokyo. I'm with Max from Lisk, the CEO and the founder.
Yeah. Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here.
So I want to ask you, so many people know what is Lisk, but then there are some people maybe not quite familiar with the project. So if you can give us the detail about your project.
Yeah, sure. So we're building an SDK, a software development kit, something like a toolbox, which enables JavaScript developers to build their own blockchain applications. With blockchain applications, what I mean is like their own real blockchain on which on top they're building an application which solves a use case. And we obviously also have our own blockchain, the Lisk blockchain with our own token LSK. And the ultimate vision is that all these new blockchain applications which are being developed are basically being connected to our main chain, and with that we're building like a blockchain application platform, a platform of connected blockchains.
Wow, that's impressive. So what are your updates?
Yeah, so 2019 I would say was a very difficult year for us because in general like the altcoin industry or blockchain industry is doing like great on the technology side but not great on the financial side. So we are making very good progress. Like we implemented like three, we called it phases of our roadmap this year. Had a complete rebranding on our wallets. They're better than ever. We're really making like tremendous progress on the technological side, but the prices are just going down.
I see.
So yeah, that's why we had like many problems just like keeping the community happy because there are a few individuals who just constantly hate. But 2019 was really a great year. So we developed, like currently we're developing BFT, like a Byzantine fault tolerance algorithm into our consensus, which basically brings cementation or finality so that after 150 blocks you can be 100% sure this transaction is final. And we had like a modular re-architecturing this year, which basically means for the developer that he is working with a modular system and he can replace modules, he can implement new modules, and this gives him greater flexibility in building his blockchain apps. Like I said, we had a rebranding on our wallet side for mobile and for desktop. Before it was great looking, but not very practical, not very usable. I think like we made like kilometers in usability.
Wow.
Like it's really, really good to use right now. With it, a new branding, obviously also a new website. Many people ask, yeah, why again? But like we had troubles with the system we were using before to create new pages, and now it's really simple. Within like one day we can spin up new pages, and you see that actually already happening. The new page was launched just a few weeks ago, and only in that short time frame we launched like 4 new pages already. So more content is being generated for the community to keep them up to date. With that, obviously, also new programs are being launched, like Lisk Builders program, which enables developers to get some funding for building proof of concepts on our platform. And overall, I would say like the biggest milestone for us this year was the launch of our Alpha SDK. So the actual product I'm talking about all the time, like which enables developers to build a blockchain application. And since then, we see like really many great efforts within the community to build blockchain apps. And like we had like decentralized sharing economies with bicycles, we had like a Lisk roulette game, we had like a supply chain management system and a ticket system. Like many people like just playing around right now, but like they're using our SDK to build their own blockchain, and they're all saying, wow, it's super, super simple.
So
like,
it can be applied to like many different things.
Yeah, to basically every single industry, every single use case you can imagine on the blockchain. Question here always is, does it make sense?
Wow, that's great. So it has been 2 years since the crypto bubble, right? Do you think it's going to come back?
The bubble? I don't know. I think bubbles come and go always. But yeah, I think obviously at one point we will see a let's say a revival of altcoins. But not of all of them. Like it was a bit too crazy. Like the biggest.
Like overrated.
Yeah, like I don't want to say like the word, but like the biggest shit projects, like got really high.
Such as? No, I'm just kidding.
got really high valuation, you know. With it doesn't make sense. Also, like ideas which didn't make sense got like insane amount of funding. So I think like the next bubble or bull run will be much more sophisticated.
I see.
Projects which actually make sense, which actually have output, which are active, they go up again. But like all these projects which are just dead and which were scams, basically, they die. They will not see a revival. But like obviously we will see one.
I see. Interesting. We will see, right? So, and there are other platform type of blockchain projects, right? So what makes Lisk better than them? Like what makes Lisk special compared to the other?
So if we compare Lisk to smart contract platforms like Ethereum, Tron, etc., or like Cardano and so on, like you cannot compare them. Like these are smart contract platforms which enable you to build a smart contract and then upload it to their chain, and then you have a decentralized app. In our case, we're talking about blockchain applications. That means you're developing your own blockchain and build your app on it. So you have a blockchain with only your app.
Okay.
Like in Ethereum, you have one blockchain with thousands of apps. In our case, you have your own blockchain with one app. So you're not like dependent on, let's say, other apps which might become super successful. In Ethereum, we saw it with CryptoKitties, which basically made it impossible for the entire network to operate because they were so successful. It became too expensive to use smart contracts at that time. In our case, only if your own application becomes successful, then basically the network congestion kicks in, like the fee goes up. But that's then actually a good thing because it's your app which is being used. But also like in terms of scalability, obviously one app versus like 10 or 20,000 smart contracts obviously scales better. So you can only compare to platforms like Cosmos and Polkadot, which are doing the same, an SDK for blockchain application development for your own blockchain. And Cosmos is developed in Go, and Polkadot is developed in Rust, and Lisk is developed in JavaScript. So it depends a bit on what you want, which language you would like to have, what system.
On like your preference.
Yes, exactly. Like every platform of these also have like small differences, you know. And you just analyze and see what suits your use case maybe better or your programming style. At the very end of the game, everything will be connected anyways. So it really doesn't matter so much what platform you use, as long as it enables you to build what you need to build or want to build.
I see. So it depends on like what they want. So, what is your favorite dApps? I hope this question makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna answer that one more generic.
Okay.
My favorite dApps or blockchain applications are all of them which solve problems.
Okay.
So I don't like dApps or blockchain apps which are just there to do something with blockchain. I like those where actually a problem existed and people analyzed the problem and said, okay, hey, blockchain can solve this problem. I don't like these where blockchain was there and people came together and said, okay, what can we build on the blockchain? There are few of these blockchain applications out there which solve a problem, but not many yet. And that was one of the reasons why we started Lisk, to simplify blockchain development, to keep or to increase experimentation, and to see really what kind of problems blockchain technology can solve in order to bring humanity forward and in order to make our societies more efficient.
I see. So what is your current situations regarding your development team and marketing team? You were saying at the meetup that you guys had a quite a big reconstruction. So what is your current situation?
Yeah, so we had, not within Lisk, Lisk as the Lisk Foundation, but within Lightcurve, which is the development, marketing, design, research studio for the Lisk project based in Berlin. And within Lightcurve, we had a company restructure, basically reducing our team from nearly 60 people, 60 to now 33.
Okay, that's almost a half.
Yes, this happened over a few months. And what you're talking about is the final restructuring, the layoff of 24 people, which was then around 40% at that time of the company, to the final 33 people. And we did it for many reasons. Ultimately, it's much easier to manage a smaller team. It's much more efficient. You can much more pull together.
Communicate with everybody.
Yes, much more easier, or easily. But that was like one of the things. Like we scaled the company up with the bull run and kept it there when the markets went down again. And it's very tricky to have a company of around 60 people. So either you have one around 20 or 30 people,
Right.
or you have 100 people, 120 people. But in between, it's very difficult to get like the most efficiency out of that.
I see.
But because the bull run stopped, we couldn't hire more. But we wanted to keep them, and we kept them for 1 year. And at the end, we said, okay, hey, it doesn't make sense. We have to scale the team down again to become more efficient, to have like less like problems overall, less overhead in the management, and focus really on output and the product itself. So this is a very big reason.
I see.
Another reason is also financially driven. So before we had around three plus years of run rate in which we could still operate. But I took over marketing just like a few months ago. And for 2020, I have a few more plans. That means a few more spendings. Like I want to do proper marketing. And that requires a higher burn rate.
Right.
And in order to still like let us run for many years, a smaller team makes more sense. So with this change now, we change basically from around 1 million burn rate to 500,000 euro burn rate a month. So we can put a bit more into marketing again to let the project grow and to let the community grow, but have nearly the same output because the team is much more efficient.
I see. More productive.
Yeah.
So Lisk is quite well known in Japan. Like you were saying that you get like pointed out in like restaurant and clubs. So, what is your take on Japanese market? What do you think of Japanese crypto community?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Japan. I love Tokyo. I'm currently doing my holidays here, so it's, I would say, a good opportunity to do interviews and meet up and so on while I'm being here. I think like the Japanese market is very difficult to the Berlin market. In Japan you have like, and I said Berlin because in terms of blockchain only Berlin matters.
Okay.
In Japan, it's more financially driven, more fintech, more like from the investor's perspective.
Yeah.
While Berlin is die-hard technology only. Like all these projects.
So nobody's investing in crypto.
They're also investing, but that's not the theme. Like you go to a meetup, you're not talking about funds or investments or VCs or so, or exchanges. You're not talking about that. You're talking about technology. You're talking about interoperability, about scalability, and so on and so forth. While in Japan, it's more or like general Asia. It's more about the financial side of things. That's why for us, like we focus entirely on the Berlin market for developers, but we have a big community in Japan, so we support them in continuously letting them grow. So we are bringing like people together in the Lisk Center Tokyo, for example, to educate them about the Lisk project.
Right, you had an incubator center.
Yes, something like that, an incubator, accelerator, and co-working space, everything in one. Also like an event location at which they host like Lisk meetups. But these are talking all more about like the general enthusiast and investor, not to a developer who wants to use our SDK.
Yeah, that's interesting because I have attended many meetups in Japan, and then first question they would ask is that, should I invest on this project to make money? Something like that, right?
Exactly.
That's the first question.
Yeah, and in our case, we're not about that. We're about enabling developers to build blockchain applications. It's about the technology, you know? And for me, it's just so much more important to build that out first, and the money will come.
Right.
Once we build utility. Exactly.
Right.
But it should not be the main focus.
I see. So Lisk is one of the few projects which is listed on Japanese exchange, right? Are you planning to get listed on other Japanese exchanges in the near future?
Yeah, definitely. So we are in a very unique position that like the Japanese financial authorities introduced like a new paper or new regulation. But we were just like shortly before that added to CoinCheck and Bitflyer. And we're like one of the few. So there's like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Lisk, basically. And that positions us very good to get listed on more exchanges. There are quite a few interested in us. We want in 2020 to approach them again and see like what we can do. But like I said, it's not our main focus. We're building the platform first and foremost. But I think definitely it's a good opportunity for us, but also for the Japanese exchanges to get Lisk on their platform because we have a really big community in Japan. Yes. On the network, the biggest holder in terms of nationality is Japan.
Really?
Yeah, it's like 9%, 10% of all the coins are in Japanese hands.
It's quite big. So what are your plans for 2020?
Yeah, so, many. So on the protocol side, we're gonna like continue with our roadmap. We're gonna implement a new fee system. We're gonna implement a new consensus algorithm and a new ID system. And with that, basically, the heavy stuff is done. During all that time, we continuously focusing research-wise on interoperability in order to like let these different blockchains which are being developed connect to each other. This is like the second big milestone for this project. The first one was the SDK. The second one is this interoperability. So we're gonna research that. Then we're gonna like continuously driving forward on our wallets. What we're now gonna do is like we focus entirely on user experience because like the main features are all done, and now everything is just about bringing users into it more easier. Marketing and business development wise, we would like to start building proof of concept blockchain applications with businesses to solve like real business problems and to find use cases for blockchain technology which actually make sense. And like we're opening up a Lisk Center Berlin for developers with developer content and workshops and hackathons to really get this crowd going. Deep focus on Berlin for the time being, because for us it's better to go really deep into one market than just shallow on many markets in order to really get this adoption, you know, and like 10,000 other things, but like I think that are like the major pieces.
Right, first thing first, right? So I think we're wrapping up, and then do you have any message, anything you want to say to the Japanese Lisk fans?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here in Japan, especially in Tokyo. I love the city, but I love the country as well, of course. I would like you to like take a look at the Lisk Center Tokyo. Just check it out, attend a meetup, maybe write them, contact them, ask questions about Lisk. Join our Discord. It's www.lisk.chat. That's like our chat platform to communicate with you, and the whole team is in there. So we are all present to answer your questions. And I would say just don't blindly jump onto projects, research them, see what we are doing. Like go to our GitHub. We're one of the most actively developed projects in the entire space. So educate yourself what Lisk is doing, and if you are like conform with our vision, and if you want to support us, and then join our community and do that. So yeah, really looking forward to grow the community here in Japan, and see you in our social media channels.
Oh, that's a great advice. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye bye.